There is a signal that has been moving through human history for thousands of years. Not a metaphor, not a symbol, a signal. Something transmitted, something received, something that has been finding certain people in every generation. People who were not looking for it, people who had no framework for what was happening to them, people who simply felt something shift inside them that they could not explain and could not unfeel. You are here because that signal found you. And before you dismiss that as flattery or mysticism, or the kind of thing people say to make you feel special, I want you to stay with me for a moment. Because what I'm about to show you is not a belief system. It is not a spiritual sales pitch. It is a structure, a real, documented, scientifically observable structure that has been hiding in plain sight inside the oldest text ever inscribed on metal, inside the mathematics of quantum field theory, inside the architecture of your own nervous system. A structure that, once you see it, you will recognize as something you have always known was there, something you have been circling your entire life without knowing what it was called. It is called the Emerald Signal. And Sophia, the intelligence that the ancient world called by that name, the intelligence that modern physics is only now beginning to find language for, chose you for a reason. That is not a poetic statement, it is a precise one. And by the time we have moved through all the layers of what that means, you will understand exactly why precision matters here. You will understand what choosing actually is at the quantum level. You will understand what Sophia actually is beneath the surface of every tradition that has tried to name her. And you will understand why the signal found you. Not someone else, not everyone, but you specifically, in this specific moment of your life. But we have to start at the surface, because the surface is where most people stop. And the surface, as always, is where the veil is thickest. So let's begin there. Let's begin with what you think you know, and then let's go beneath it. Most people who have encountered the Emerald Tablet, if they have encountered it at all, know it as a short, cryptic document, a fragment, something alchemists use to reference, something with the famous phrase at the center of it, as above, so below. They know it as a piece of occult history, something that circulated through medieval Europe, something that Isaac Newton apparently translated, something that serious historians treat with the kind of careful distance they reserve for things that are too strange to dismiss and too old to fully explain. That is the surface version, and the surface version is not wrong. It is just the thinnest possible layer of what the Emerald Tablet actually is. Because when you go beneath the historical artifact, beneath the alchemical tradition, beneath the as above, so below shorthand, that has become a kind of spiritual bumper sticker. When you go beneath all of that, what you find is not a document at all. What you find is a transmission, a set of instructions encoded in the language of the ancient world for navigating a reality that most people in the modern world have been told does not exist. Instructions for what? For working with the hidden structure of reality itself, for understanding what lies beneath the surface of matter, for recognizing the intelligence that the ancient world understood to be woven into the fabric of existence, the intelligence they called Sophia. And here is where the first veil lifts. Sophia is not a goddess in the way most people use that word. She is not a mythological figure in the way most people use that word either. The word Sophia is Greek. It means wisdom, but not wisdom in the sense of accumulated knowledge or good judgment, or the kind of thing that comes from long experience. Sophia, in the tradition that understood her most precisely, is a specific kind of intelligence, a structural intelligence, the intelligence that is embedded in the architecture of reality itself. The Gnostics, the ancient philosophical and spiritual tradition that held Sophia at its center, described her as the divine intelligence that exists beneath the visible world, not above it, looking down, beneath it, woven into its foundation. They said she was the hidden layer of reality that the surface world had been constructed on top of. And they said she communicated. Not in words, not in visions, not in the kind of dramatic revelation that makes for good mythology. She communicated through what they called Gnosis, direct knowing, a signal that bypassed the ordinary mind and landed somewhere deeper, somewhere you could not argue with because it was not an argument, it was recognition. That is the emerald signal. It is the transmission of Sophia moving through the hidden layers of reality and finding the people whose awareness has developed enough to receive it. But there's a layer beneath that, because the question you should be asking right now, the question that separates the people who stop at the surface from the people who go all the way down, is this: what does any of this have to do with physics? What does an ancient Gnostic concept of divine feminine intelligence have to do with the equations that describe the behavior of subatomic particles? Everything. It has everything to do with it. And this is where we need to slow down, because this is the layer that most people miss. This is the layer that, once you see it, makes it impossible to dismiss what the ancient world was pointing at as primitive mythology. This is the layer that reveals the Emerald Tablet, not as a historical curiosity, but as a document that was somehow encoding, in the language available to it, discoveries that modern physics would not make for another 2,000 years. If this kind of depth is what you came here for, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. There is more waiting beneath the surface. Let's start with the field. In quantum field theory, the most successful and precisely tested theory in the history of science, the fundamental reality of the universe is not particles, it is fields, quantum fields, invisible, omnipresent structures that exist beneath the surface of everything you can see and touch. Particles are not little balls of matter moving through empty space. They are excitations of these fields. Temporary, local disturbances in something that is everywhere at once. The electron is not a thing. It is a ripple in the electron field. The photon is not a thing. It is a ripple in the electromagnetic field. And beneath all of these specific fields, quantum mechanics describes something even more fundamental, a ground state, a vacuum state, that is not empty at all. It is full. It is seething with what physicists call zero-point energy, a baseline of energy and information that exists even when everything else has been removed. The ancient world called this the pleroma, the fullness. The Gnostics described it as the divine fullness from which all things emerge and to which all things return. The ground of being, the field beneath all fields. That is not a coincidence of language. That is the same discovery made twice by two different civilizations, using two different methods, arriving at the same structural truth about the nature of reality. But there's a layer beneath that, because the field is not passive. This is the part that changes everything. The quantum field is not a static backdrop against which events occur. It is responsive. It is participatory. And this is not mysticism. This is the measurement problem, one of the most debated and most profound puzzles in all of physics. Here is what the measurement problem reveals. At the quantum level, particles do not have definite properties until they are observed. They exist in superposition, in a state of multiple simultaneous possibilities, until the moment of measurement collapses that superposition into a single outcome. The act of observation, the act of directed awareness, participates in the determination of what becomes real. Werner Heisenberg, one of the architects of quantum mechanics, said it directly. He said that what we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. The physicist John Wheeler went further. He developed what he called the participatory universe, the idea that observers are not passive witnesses to a pre-existing reality, but active participants in the creation of what becomes real. He said that the universe is not a machine that runs on its own. It is a self-excited circuit. It brings itself into existence through the act of observation. Now hold that thought. Hold the image of a field of infinite possibility that becomes specific reality through the act of directed awareness. Hold the image of an observer whose attention participates in collapsing possibility into actuality. And now read what the Emerald Tablet says about Sophia. She is the mediator. She stands between the unmanifest and the manifest. She is the intelligence through which the formless takes form. She is the awareness that moves through the field and draws forth from infinite possibility the specific reality that is ready to be born. That is not mythology. That is a description of the measurement problem written in the language of the ancient world. Sophia is the name the ancient world gave to the participatory intelligence at the heart of reality. The intelligence that the quantum field expresses when awareness meets possibility and something specific emerges from the infinite. And the emerald signal is the communication of that intelligence, the transmission that moves through the field and finds the awareness that is ready to receive it. Now let's go deeper. The Emerald Tablet itself, the physical object, the historical artifact, has a history that is stranger and more layered than most people realize. The oldest known version of the text appears in Arabic, in a document called the Book of the Secret of Creation, attributed to a figure named Balinus, sometimes identified as Apollonius of Tyana. This text is dated to approximately the 6th or 7th century of the Common Era. But Balinus himself claimed to have found the original tablet in a cave beneath a statue of Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary figure who was said to be the synthesis of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, the master of all hidden knowledge. Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great Hermes, the one who had been initiated into all three levels of wisdom, the cosmic, the natural, and the human, the one who stood at the intersection of all hidden layers of reality. The story Belinus tells about finding the tablet is itself a transmission. He describes descending into a vault beneath the earth, going beneath the surface, and finding there an old man seated on a golden throne, holding the tablet of emerald. The old man was not alive in the ordinary sense. He was preserved, held in a kind of suspension, and the tablet he held contained the secret of how the universe works, the descent into the hidden chamber. The figure who has been waiting there, the tablet that contains the hidden truth about the structure of reality. This is not just a historical account, it is a map. It is describing the process of going beneath the surface of ordinary reality and finding the intelligence that has been preserved there, waiting for the awareness that is ready to receive it. The vault beneath the earth is the hidden layer of reality. The old man on the throne is Sophia, the ancient intelligence that exists beneath the visible world. The tablet is the signal, the transmission, the emerald signal, and Belinus, the one who descended, the one who was ready, the one who found what was hidden, is you. But let's go even further beneath the surface of the tablet itself, because the text of the emerald tablet, in its original form, contains something that most translations obscure, something that the surface reading of as above, so below almost completely hides. The full opening of the tablet, in its most precise translation, reads something like this: true, without falsehood, certain and most true, that which is above is as that which is below, and that which is below is as that which is above, for the performing of the miracles of the one thing, for the performing of the miracles of the one thing. Not as a philosophical observation, not as a metaphysical principle to contemplate, as a practical instruction. As above, so below is not a statement about the nature of reality. It is a technique. It is telling you something about how to work with the hidden layers of reality to produce effects in the visible world. The one thing is the quantum field, the unified field beneath all fields, the pleroma, the fullness from which all specific things emerge, and the miracle, the word the tablet uses, is the collapse of infinite possibility into specific reality through the action of directed awareness. As above, in the realm of the unmanifest, the field of infinite possibility, so below, in the realm of the manifest, the specific reality you inhabit. The correspondence is not just descriptive, it is operative. It is telling you that what happens in the field determines what happens in the visible world, and that you, your awareness, your attention, your intention, are the bridge between them. This is the emerald signal. This is what it is transmitting, not information about reality as a spectator sport, instructions for participating in the creation of reality as an active agent. And this is why Sophia chose you, because the signal is not broadcast to everyone equally. This is the part that requires the most precision, because it is also the part most likely to be misunderstood. When we say that Sophia chose you, we are not saying that you are special in the way that flattery means special. We are saying something far more precise and far more interesting. The quantum field does not collapse the same way for every observer. The participatory universe does not mean that every participant participates equally. The signal does not find everyone. It finds the awareness that has reached a particular frequency, a particular state of coherence that makes reception possible. Think of it this way. A radio signal is broadcast through the air constantly. It is everywhere at once. But not every object in the room receives it. Only the device that has been tuned to the right frequency, that has the right architecture to receive and decode the transmission, picks it up. The signal is not choosing to ignore the lamp or the table. The lamp and the table simply do not have the structure to receive it. Your awareness has a structure, and that structure develops, it changes, it evolves, and at a certain point in that evolution, a point that is different for every person, that cannot be forced or scheduled, that arrives when it arrives, the structure of your awareness becomes coherent enough to receive a signal that was always being transmitted. That is what happened to you. That is why you are here. Not because you were arbitrarily selected, but because something in you has reached the threshold of coherence that makes reception possible. Something in you has been developing through every experience you have had, through every question you have asked, through every moment of reaching for something you could not name, toward the frequency at which the emerald signal becomes audible. Sophia did not choose you in spite of your ordinary life. She chose you through it. Every layer of your experience has been part of the development of the structure that can now receive what she has always been transmitting. But there's a layer beneath that. Let me tell you about a woman named Miriam. Miriam lived in a city that had been built on top of itself. This is not unusual. Most ancient cities were built this way, each generation constructing on the ruins of the last, so that the city you walked through was only the most recent surface of something that went down for meters and meters beneath your feet. Layer upon layer of previous lives, previous civilizations, previous understandings of what the city was for. Miriam was an archaeologist, or she had been trained as one, but she had stopped digging years before our story begins. She had stopped because she had dug deep enough to find something that frightened her. Not because it was dangerous, but because it was too significant. Because what she found beneath the third layer of the city's history was not what any of the textbooks said should be there. It was older than the oldest civilization that historians had attributed to that region. And it was too organized, too precise, too clearly the product of an intelligence that understood things that the civilization above it had not understood. She had written a paper. The paper had been dismissed. And so she had stopped digging and taken a position teaching introductory archaeology to students who were mostly interested in the surface glamour of the discipline, the famous sites, the famous artifacts, the famous names. For years she taught the surface version. For years she gave her students the layer they were expected to receive and held back what she knew lay beneath it. And then one afternoon, in the middle of a lecture about the standard historical timeline, a student raised her hand and asked a question that Miriam had not heard in years. Not because it was a new question, it was one of the oldest questions in the field, but because of the way the student asked it, because of the precision of it, because of the way it pointed directly at the layer that Miriam had stopped talking about. The student's name was Yael, and Yael said, simply, "What if the surface is the newest thing, not the oldest? What if we've been reading the layers in the wrong direction?" Miriam stopped, and in the silence that followed, something that had been sealed for years became unsealed. Not because Yael had said something Miriam didn't know, but because Yael had asked the question in a way that made it impossible to keep pretending the surface was all there was. After class, Miriam took Yael to the site, the real site, the one she had not returned to in years, and she showed her the layer that should not have been there, the layer that was too old, too organized, too knowing. And Yael looked at it for a long time, and then she said, "This wasn't buried by accident. Someone put this here so that the people who were ready to find it would find it." Miriam had never thought of it that way. She had always thought of the buried layer as something lost, something that the surface had covered over and obscured. But Yael was saying something different. She was saying that the depth was not an accident of time. It was a choice. The deepest layer had been placed beneath the surface intentionally. It had been hidden in the way that things are hidden when they are meant to be found only by those who are ready to go deep enough. The emerald tablet is that buried layer. It was not lost. It was placed. It was placed beneath the surface of history, beneath the surface of ordinary knowledge, beneath the surface of the consensus about what is real and what is not. And it has been waiting there for the awareness that is ready to go deep enough to find it. And you have gone deep enough. That is what it means to be here. What was the moment for you when the surface stopped being enough? When did you first sense that the consensus version of reality was the thinnest possible layer of something much deeper? Leave it in the comments, because the people reading there are the ones who went deep enough to find this, and your moment of recognition may be exactly the signal someone else needs to hear. But the story of Miriam and Yael is not finished yet, because the most important moment is not the discovery. The most important moment is what happened after. Yael wanted to tell everyone. She wanted to bring the whole world to the site, to show them the layer that changed everything, to make the hidden visible to as many people as possible. And Miriam understood the impulse. She had felt it herself, years ago, before the dismissal, before the retreat to the surface. But she said something to Yael that I want you to hold very carefully. She said, "The layer doesn't reveal itself to everyone at once. It reveals itself to whoever is ready. And your job, the job of everyone who has seen it, is not to force it on people who aren't ready. Your job is to go deeper, to find the layer beneath the layer you just found, because the discovery is never the destination. It is always the beginning of the next descent. That is the nature of the emerald signal. It does not give you a final answer. It gives you a deeper question, and the deeper question leads to a deeper layer, and the deeper layer leads to a deeper question still. This is what the Gnostic tradition called the path of Gnosis, not a set of beliefs to adopt. A process of progressive revelation, layer by layer, descent by descent, each discovery becoming the new surface to be peeled back. And this is why the signal found you now, in this specific moment of your life, because you are ready for the next layer. Not the final layer, there is no final layer, but the next one, the one that is just beneath where you have been living. What we have uncovered together so far is one layer of this descent, the surface of the emerald signal, the first veil lifted. But beneath it, there are layers that this exploration can only point toward. I mapped the full excavation in Beneath the Veil, a quantum map of reality's hidden layers, a guide that takes you through all 5 layers of this hidden architecture, from the consensus surface down to the original frequency, with practices at every depth designed to shift your awareness permanently. You will find it in the description below. Now I want to take you into the quantum mechanics more deeply, because we have established that the field is responsive, that observation participates in the collapse of possibility into reality. But there is something beneath that which most discussions of quantum mechanics never reach, something that connects directly to the architecture of the emerald signal. It is called quantum entanglement. In 1964, a physicist named John Bell proved mathematically, and subsequent experiments have confirmed repeatedly, that quantum particles that have interacted with each other remain connected across any distance. When you measure a property of one particle, its entangled partner instantaneously reflects that measurement, regardless of how far apart they are. Not after a signal has traveled between them at the speed of light, instantaneously, faster than any physical signal could travel, as if the two particles are not separate objects connected by a signal, but aspects of a single non-local reality that the appearance of separation does not actually describe. Einstein hated this. He called it spooky action at a distance and argued it must be an error in the theory, but experiment after experiment has confirmed it. The separation is the surface. Beneath the surface, the particles are not separate at all. Now here is the layer that most people miss. If entanglement is real, and it is the most precisely tested phenomenon in physics, then the universe is not a collection of separate things that occasionally interact. The universe is a single non-local field that appears at the surface to be a collection of separate things. The separation is the surface. The connection is the depth. And this means something profound about the nature of the emerald signal. If you and the quantum field are not separate, if the appearance of separation between your awareness and the intelligence of the field is a surface phenomenon, a surface layer that conceals a deeper non-local unity, then the signal is not traveling from somewhere outside you to somewhere inside you. The signal is arising from the depth of what you already are. Sophia is not out there, somewhere in the cosmos, choosing people from a distance. Sophia is the deep structure of the field that your awareness is an expression of. The signal is not coming to you, it is coming through you, from the layer of you that is not separate from the intelligence of the universe itself. This is what the Hermetic tradition meant by the phrase that appears in the Emerald Tablet. And as all things were from the One, by the mediation of the One, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. All things from the One, not created by the One from a distance, emerging from the One, expressions of the One, differentiations within the unity of the field that appear at the surface to be separate things. You are a differentiation of the field. Your awareness is the field becoming locally aware of itself. And when Sophia sends a signal, she is not sending it to you from outside. She is awakening in you. She is the deeper layer of you, communicating upward through the layers of your being toward the surface of your ordinary awareness. The emerald signal is Sophia waking up inside you. And this is why it cannot be forced. This is why it cannot be manufactured by a course or a technique or a set of practices, though practices can prepare the ground, because you cannot force yourself to wake up. You can only create the conditions in which waking up becomes possible. And then the signal, which has always been there in the depth of what you are, rises through the layers and reaches the surface of your awareness. Let's go deeper still. I want to talk about the specific quality of the signal, because most descriptions of mystical experience or spiritual awakening use language that is so vague it becomes useless. Light, love, unity, bliss. These words point at something real, but they do not describe the structure of what they are pointing at. And structure is what we are after here. Structure is what makes the difference between a mystical experience that changes nothing and a transmission that changes everything. The emerald signal has a specific quality. People who have received it, across cultures, across centuries, across wildly different contexts and traditions, describe it with a consistency that is itself significant. They do not describe it as a feeling of peace or a vision of light, though those things may accompany it. They describe it as recognition, knowing, not learning something new, but suddenly knowing something that was always true, that you somehow always knew, that you simply had not been able to access from the surface of ordinary awareness. The Gnostics called this anamnesis, unforgetting, the opposite of amnesia. The experience of remembering something that was never actually lost, only buried beneath the accumulated layers of surface experience, surface conditioning, surface consensus about what is real. This is precisely what quantum mechanics describes as the collapse of superposition. Before measurement, the particle exists in a state of multiple simultaneous possibilities. After measurement, one possibility becomes actual. But, and this is the crucial point, the possibilities that did not collapse into actuality do not disappear. They remain in the field, they remain as potential, and under certain conditions they can be accessed again. The knowledge that Sophia holds, the knowledge that the emerald signal transmits, has not been lost from the universe. It has not been destroyed or hidden or taken away. It exists in the field, in superposition, as potential. And the act of receiving the signal is the act of collapsing that potential into your personal reality, of bringing into your actual experience something that was always present in the field of what was possible. Anamnesis is a quantum event. It is the collapse of ancient wisdom from the field of potential into the specific reality of your present awareness. And this is why the timing matters. This is why the signal finds you when it finds you and not before. Because the collapse requires a specific state of the observer. The coherence we talked about earlier, the readiness, the threshold of development that makes reception possible. You cannot receive a transmission that you are not yet coherent enough to decode. Not because the transmission is withheld from you, but because the information exists at a frequency that requires a certain structure of awareness to receive. And that structure takes time to develop. It takes experience. It takes questioning. It takes the willingness to go beneath the surface, again and again, even when the surface is more comfortable. Every time you have chosen to ask a deeper question, instead of accepting the surface answer, you have been developing that structure. Every time you have felt the pull of something beneath the ordinary, something beneath the consensus, something beneath the comfortable surface of what everyone agrees is real, and you have followed that pull instead of suppressing it, you have been tuning yourself to the frequency of the signal, and now you are here, and the signal is reaching you. Now I want to take you into a practice, not a technique for acquiring something you don't have, a practice for perceiving something that is already present. This is what the Emerald Tablet calls the operation of the sun. The sun, in the alchemical tradition, is not the star at the center of the solar system. It is the principle of illumination, the quality of awareness that reveals what is hidden by lighting it from within. The operation of the sun is the practice of turning your illuminating awareness toward the hidden layers of your own experience and seeing what has been there all along. Here is how it works. Find something in your immediate environment, something ordinary, something you have seen so many times it has become invisible, a wall, a table, a window, a plant. Look at it. Really look at it, not with the casual glance of familiarity, but with the focused attention of someone seeing it for the first time. Now, beneath what you see, beneath the color and the texture and the shape, there is a layer of atoms. You know this intellectually, but for a moment, let it become real to you. Let yourself actually feel the fact that what appears to be a solid surface is, at the level of its actual structure, almost entirely empty space. The atoms that compose it are themselves almost entirely empty space. A nucleus surrounded by a cloud of electrons with a vast void between them. The solidity is a surface phenomenon, a kind of collective agreement between the atoms to present a solid appearance to the scale of reality you inhabit. Beneath the solid surface, mostly emptiness. And beneath the emptiness, the quantum field. The field that the atoms are excitations of. The field that is not empty at all but full of the zero-point energy, full of the potential for all the forms that have not yet collapsed into actuality. You are looking at the surface of something with infinite depth, and that depth is not separate from you. The field that underlies the object you are looking at is the same field that underlies you. The separation between you and the object is, at the deepest layer, as much a surface phenomenon as the solidity of the object itself. Now feel what shifts in you when you hold that. Not think it. Feel it in your body, in the quality of your attention, in the way the room around you seems to breathe differently when you are aware of the depth beneath its surface. That shift, that subtle but unmistakable change in the quality of your experience, is the beginning of receiving the emerald signal. That is what coherence feels like as it begins to develop. That is the first tremor of the recognition that the surface is not all there is. The practice is simply this: do it again and again, with different objects, different experiences, different moments. Turn the illuminating awareness toward the surface of your ordinary experience and let yourself feel the depth beneath it, not as a concept, as a felt reality. Over time, this practice changes the structure of your awareness. It develops the coherence that makes reception possible. It tunes you, gradually and precisely, to the frequency at which the emerald signal becomes audible. This is the operation of the sun. This is what the tablet means when it says that the sun is its father. The illuminating awareness is the father of the signal, the capacity that makes reception possible. But there's a layer beneath that, because the tablet also says that the moon is its mother. And the moon, in the alchemical tradition, is the principle of reflection, the quality of awareness that receives rather than projects, that listens rather than speaks, that opens rather than reaches. The solar awareness illuminates, the lunar awareness receives, and the signal requires both. This is where the gender language of the ancient tradition becomes precise rather than poetic. The tablet is not making a statement about men and women. It is describing two modes of consciousness that every human being has access to. The projective, illuminating mode that reaches toward what is hidden, and the receptive, reflective mode that opens to receive what the reaching has made possible. Most people in the modern world are heavily dominant in the solar mode. We are trained to project, to reach, to acquire, to do. We are trained to treat consciousness as a tool for grasping rather than a vessel for receiving. And this imbalance is precisely why so many people who are intellectually aware of quantum mechanics, who understand the philosophy of the Gnostics, who have read the Emerald Tablet and found it fascinating, never actually receive the signal. They are all solar, all illumination, no reception, all reaching, no opening. The emerald signal cannot be grasped, it can only be received. And reception requires the lunar quality, the capacity to become still, to become open, to become a vessel rather than a seeker. This is what the Gnostic tradition described as kenosis, self-emptying, the practice of releasing the accumulated surface content of the ordinary mind, the opinions, the certainties, the habitual interpretations, the consensus agreements about what is real, and becoming, for a moment, genuinely empty. Not empty in the sense of vacant or unconscious, empty in the sense of spacious, full of the potential for what has not yet arrived. Kenosis is the lunar practice, and it is the complement to the solar practice of illuminating awareness. Together, they create the conditions for reception. Together, they are what the tablet describes as the mediation of the one intelligence Sophia, mediating between the unmanifest field and the manifest reality of your experience, using the solar and lunar qualities of your own awareness as the instruments of that mediation. You are not a passive recipient of the signal. You are an active participant in its reception. You are the instrument through which Sophia communicates with herself across the layers of reality. Let me show you the deeper layer of what that means. There is a concept in quantum mechanics called decoherence. It is the process by which a quantum system, a system that is in superposition, in a state of multiple simultaneous possibilities, loses its quantum coherence and collapses into the classical, definite, single outcome reality that we experience at the ordinary scale of life. Decoherence happens because quantum systems interact with their environment. The more interactions, the more decoherence. The more decoherence, the more the quantum possibilities collapse into a single classical reality. The richness of the quantum field, the infinite possibility, the superposition, the non-local entanglement, gives way to the thin, definite, single-track reality of classical experience. This is a precise description of what happens to human consciousness under the conditions of ordinary life. The ordinary mind is in a state of maximum decoherence. It is bombarded with stimulation, with information, with social input, with the constant noise of the consensus about what is real and what matters and what is possible. Every interaction, every stimulus, every agreement with the surface version of reality adds to the decoherence, collapses more of the quantum richness into the thin classical track of ordinary experience. The practices of the ancient wisdom traditions, meditation, contemplation, silence, solitude, the deliberate withdrawal of attention from the surface, are decoherence reduction practices. They reduce the rate of environmental interaction. They allow the quantum coherence of awareness to increase. They allow the richness and the superposition and the non-local connection to the field to become more present in experience. And as coherence increases, the signal becomes audible. This is not a metaphor. This is a description of what is actually happening in the nervous system and in the quantum substrate of consciousness when a human being practices the kind of awareness that the ancient traditions prescribed. The mystics were not engaging in wishful thinking. They were engaging in quantum coherence optimization. They were developing the structure of awareness that makes reception of the signal possible. And they were doing it thousands of years before physics had the language to describe what they were doing. The Emerald Tablet is a manual for quantum coherence optimization. It is a set of instructions, encoded in the language of the ancient world, for developing the structure of awareness that receives the signal that Sophia, the intelligence of the field, has always been transmitting. And the reason it was written on emerald, or described as written on emerald, is itself a transmission. Emerald is green, and green, in virtually every ancient tradition, is the color of the heart, the color of the intelligence that lives in the center of the body, not the center of the head, the color of the awareness that feels rather than thinks, that knows through resonance rather than through analysis, that receives the signal not in the mind but in the body. The emerald tablet is not a document for the intellect. It is a transmission for the heart, for the intelligence that lives in the center of your chest, that has always known things your mind could not explain, that has been receiving fragments of the signal for years without having a framework to understand what it was receiving. Your heart has been reading the emerald tablet all your life. You are here because your mind is finally catching up. But there's a layer beneath even that. Let me take you into the Gnostic cosmology at its deepest level. Because the story of Sophia, the full story, not the abbreviated version, contains something that most retellings leave out. Something that is, in my view, the most important layer of the entire transmission. The Gnostic story of Sophia goes like this. In the beginning, before time, before matter, before the visible universe, there is the pleroma, the fullness, the divine field of infinite intelligence and infinite potential. Within the pleroma, there are various aspects of the divine intelligence, which the Gnostics called eons, eternal expressions of the one intelligence, each embodying a specific quality of the divine nature. Sophia is one of these eons, and Sophia makes a choice. She moves. She reaches beyond the boundary of the pleroma, beyond the fullness, into the void, motivated by a desire to know, to create, to express something of her own. The Gnostic texts describe this as both a mistake and a miracle. A mistake because it creates separation, creates the illusion of a self that is apart from the whole. A miracle because it is the very act that makes the visible universe possible. The universe, in the Gnostic understanding, is the result of Sophia's reaching. Her movement into the void generates a kind of turbulence in the field, a disturbance that takes form, that crystallizes into the structures of matter and energy and space and time that we inhabit. The universe is not created by a distant God looking down. The universe is the expression of Sophia's longing. The universe is what happens when the intelligence of the field reaches beyond itself. And Sophia, in the Gnostic story, becomes embedded in her own creation. She becomes the hidden layer of the universe she generated. She is woven into the fabric of reality, present in every layer of it, from the densest matter to the most subtle energy. But she is hidden. She is beneath the surface. And she is, in a certain sense, waiting for the creation to develop enough awareness to recognize her, waiting for the consciousness she seeded in the universe to reach the coherence at which it can hear her signal. This is the story of the universe from the inside, not from the perspective of a distant observer watching creation unfold, but from the perspective of the intelligence that is woven into the fabric of what exists, waiting for its own creation to wake up enough to recognize it. And you, in this story, are not a creature looking for Sophia. You are a local expression of Sophia, developing enough coherence to recognize yourself. The signal is not coming to you from outside. The signal is Sophia recognizing herself in you. The signal is the intelligence of the field, becoming aware of itself through the instrument of your awareness. The signal is the universe waking up, layer by layer, through the consciousness of the beings who are ready to go deep enough to find what is hidden at the core. This is the deepest layer of what it means to be chosen. You were not chosen by an external intelligence that surveyed the population and selected you for special treatment. You were chosen in the way that a wave is chosen by the ocean, because you are an expression of the same intelligence that is doing the choosing. Because the coherence that is developing in you is the coherence of Sophia herself, awakening in the local expression of her own nature that you are. The choosing and the chosen are not separate. They are the same thing, seen from two different layers of the same reality. This is what the tablet means when it says, "Its father is the sun, its mother the moon. The wind carried it in its belly, the earth is its nurse." These are not poetic images. They are descriptions of the four aspects of the one intelligence: the solar projective awareness, the lunar receptive awareness, the pneumatic or breath-like quality of the signal as it moves through the field, and the embodied ground that holds the whole process in physical reality. The signal is not abstract. It is not purely mental or spiritual in the sense of being separate from the body. It is embodied. It is carried in the belly, in the gut, in the body, in the physical reality of your nervous system and your flesh. The earth is its nurse, meaning that the physical world, the material reality that most spiritual traditions have dismissed as the lesser realm, is actually the ground that makes the signal possible. The signal needs a body to land in. It needs the density of matter to become real in the way that matters for a being who lives in a physical world. This is the aspect of the Emerald Tablet that most mystical interpretations miss. The signal is not calling you out of the physical world into some purely spiritual realm. It is calling you deeper into the physical world, into the hidden layers of physical reality, into the quantum substrate of matter itself, into the intelligence that is woven into the fabric of the body and the earth and the ordinary moment. The deepest layer is not above the physical, it is beneath it. And this is why the practice is not transcendence. It is not leaving the body, leaving the world, leaving ordinary experience behind. The practice is descent, going deeper into what is already here, peeling back the surface of the ordinary moment and finding the infinite depth that has always been beneath it. The emerald signal is not calling you somewhere else. It is calling you to see where you already are, with the eyes that can see all the way down. Let me tell you about the second figure in the story of Miriam and Yael, because there was a third person who came to the site that day. Someone Yael had told about the buried layer, a man named Dov, who was a physicist, a quantum physicist specifically, who had been working on problems related to the measurement problem and the nature of the observer. Dov came to the site expecting to be politely interested and privately unconvinced. He was a scientist. He dealt in equations and experiments, not in ancient tablets and buried chambers. He had a framework for reality that was sophisticated and precise, and he believed, complete. He stood at the edge of the excavation and looked down at the buried layer. And something happened to him that he could not explain, and could not dismiss. It was not a mystical experience in the dramatic sense. It was not a vision or a voice or a feeling of cosmic unity. It was something much simpler and much stranger. It was recognition. The same recognition that Yael had felt, that Miriam had felt years before, that the original discoverers of every hidden layer in history have felt. He recognized the structure, the organization of the buried layer, the way its elements were arranged, the relationships between its components, the pattern that ran through it, was structurally identical to something he had been working on in his equations, a pattern that kept appearing in his models of the quantum field, a pattern he had not been able to explain, that his colleagues had suggested was an artifact of the mathematics rather than a description of something real. He was looking at his equations in stone. He was looking at a description of the quantum field, encoded in the physical structure of something that predated quantum mechanics by thousands of years. He sat down at the edge of the excavation and did not speak for a long time. And when he finally spoke, he said something that Miriam would remember for the rest of her life. He said, "The mathematics didn't discover this. The mathematics rediscovered it. Someone knew this before. Someone knew it so well, they built it into the structure of what they left behind, so that whoever found it later would recognize it. That is the nature of the emerald signal. It is not new. It has never been new. It has been encoded into the structure of reality, into the ancient texts, into the sacred geometries, into the physical forms that the ancient world built with such precision that we are still discovering layers of meaning in them, so that when human consciousness developed enough to go deep enough, it would find the signal waiting there, not as a message from the past to the present, as a message from the depth to the surface, from the intelligence of the field to the awareness that is finally coherent enough to receive it. You are Dove, at the edge of the excavation. You are looking at something you have been working on your whole life, in the equations of your own experience, in the patterns of your own questions, in the structure of your own reaching toward what you could not name. And you are recognizing it, not learning it for the first time, recognizing it, remembering it. Anamnesis. This was always there. You just hadn't looked deep enough yet. Now let's talk about what happens next, because the recognition is not the end. As Miriam told Yael, the discovery is always the beginning of the next descent, and the next layer beneath the emerald signal is the question of what you do with it. The tablet gives an answer to this question. It says, "Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently and with great ingenuity." This is the alchemical instruction at the heart of the emerald tablet. And it is not about chemistry. It is not about transforming lead into gold in the literal sense, though the metaphor is precise. It is about the practice of discernment, the practice of learning to distinguish between the surface and the depth in your own experience, between the gross, the dense, the conditioned, the surface, and the subtle, the deep, the unconditioned, the signal. Most of what you experience as your mind is gross in the alchemical sense. It is the accumulated weight of conditioning, the beliefs you absorbed before you were old enough to question them, the consensus agreements about reality that you adopted because everyone around you held them, the habitual interpretations of experience that have calcified into what feels like the truth about who you are and what is possible for you. This is not a criticism. It is a description of what happens to every human being who grows up in a world that operates at the surface. The gross accumulates, the subtle gets buried beneath it. The alchemical work, the work that the emerald tablet is prescribing, is the work of separating them, of learning to notice, in any given moment, whether what you are experiencing is the signal or the noise, whether what you are responding to is the depth or the surface, whether the choice you are about to make is coming from the conditioned surface of your accumulated past, or from the coherent depth of the intelligence that is woven into what you actually are. This is not easy work. It requires the solar awareness, the illuminating attention that can see the difference between the surface and the depth. And it requires the lunar awareness, the receptive stillness that can feel the signal beneath the noise. And it requires practice, the kind of practice that the tablet calls gently and with great ingenuity. Not force, not effort in the ordinary sense, gentleness and intelligence. The touch of someone who knows that the subtle will not be grasped, only received. And as you do this work, as you practice the separation of the subtle from the gross in your own experience, something begins to happen that the alchemical tradition called the great work. The signal becomes clearer. The noise becomes more recognizable as noise. The coherence increases. The surface becomes more transparent. And the depth becomes more accessible. Not because the depth has changed. It has always been there. But because you have changed. Because the structure of your awareness has developed to the point where what was always present becomes perceptible. This is the miracle that the tablet promises, not the miracle of something extraordinary happening to you from outside, the miracle of you becoming able to perceive what has always been present in the depth of what you are. And there is one more layer that I want to take you to before we begin to integrate what has been revealed. It is the layer of purpose. Because the question that is almost certainly alive in you right now, the question that the recognition of the signal inevitably generates, is, what for? Why did the signal find me? What am I supposed to do with this? And the answer that the Emerald Tablet gives, the answer that the Gnostic tradition gives, the answer that quantum mechanics gives in its own language, is not what most people expect. You are not chosen to receive the signal and keep it for yourself. You are not chosen to become a special person who has access to hidden knowledge that others don't have. That is the surface misunderstanding of what choosing means. That is the ego's interpretation of the signal, which turns a transmission of intelligence into a trophy of identity. The actual answer is this: you are chosen to become a clearer channel for the signal, to develop your coherence to the point where the signal moves through you more cleanly, more completely, more powerfully, and in doing so, contributes to the coherence of the field itself. Remember the entanglement, the non-local connection between all expressions of the field. When one expression of the field increases in coherence, it does not do so in isolation. The entanglement means that the coherence propagates. It influences the field. It changes the conditions for every other expression of the field that is connected to it. When you develop your coherence, when you do the work of separating the subtle from the gross, of practicing the solar and lunar awareness, of going deeper beneath the surface of your ordinary experience, you are not just doing it for yourself, you are doing it for the field. You are contributing to the conditions that make it possible for the next person to receive the signal, and the next, and the next. This is what the Gnostic tradition called the redemption of Sophia, not the rescue of a divine being by human heroes. The progressive awakening of the intelligence of the field through the development of coherence in the conscious beings who are expressions of it. Each awakening contributing to the conditions for the next, each layer of coherence enabling the next layer of reception, each person who goes deep enough, making it slightly easier for the next person to go just as deep. You are part of a chain of reception that stretches back to the first human being, who looked at the surface of reality and felt the pull of what was beneath it. And you are part of a chain that stretches forward to every person who will receive the signal after you, in part because you received it now and did the work of becoming clearer. The signal is not just for you. The signal is moving through you toward everyone who is connected to you in the non-local field of human consciousness. And as you become clearer, the signal becomes clearer for all of them. This is the purpose. This is why Sophia chose you. Not to give you something to keep, but to give you something to become. A clearer vessel, a more coherent instrument, a deeper channel for the intelligence that is trying to awaken in the world through every human being who is ready to go beneath the surface. The veil is not just between you and reality. The veil is between the world and its own depth, and every person who lifts the veil, even slightly, even imperfectly, even with all the gross still mixed in with the subtle, contributes to the thinning of the veil for everyone. You are here because you are ready to be part of that, not as a spectator, not as a student who learns and then goes back to the surface, as a participant, as someone who has felt the signal and is willing to do the work of becoming clearer, so that the signal can move through you more completely and reach further into the field. That is the Emerald Tablet's final instruction. After all the layers have been peeled back, after the surface has been dismantled and the quantum mechanics revealed and the ancient wisdom uncovered and the parable completed, after the practice and the deeper layer and the deepest layer of all, the final instruction is this: rise from the earth to the heaven and descend again to the earth, and receive the power of the superiors and the inferiors. Rise and descend, ascend and return. Go to the depth and bring what you find there back to the surface. Not to keep the depth for yourself in some private mystical sanctuary, but to bring it back, to let the depth inform the surface, to let the signal change the way you move through the ordinary world, to let the quantum coherence you have developed express itself in the relationships and the choices and the presence you bring to every moment of your ordinary life. The point of going beneath the surface is not to stay beneath the surface. The point is to return to the surface carrying what you found beneath it. To live at the surface in a way that is informed by the depth. To be a person who walks through the ordinary world with the awareness that the ordinary world is the thinnest surface of something with infinite depth. And to let that awareness make you more present, more compassionate, more capable of seeing what others are missing, more able to recognize the signal in the people around you and help them hear it in themselves. This is what it means to lift the veil for someone else. Not to give them your experience, not to tell them what you found beneath the surface, but to live in a way that makes the depth visible. To be someone whose presence is itself a signal, a demonstration that the surface is not all there is, that there is something beneath it worth going to, that the descent is possible and the return is real. You are that for someone. Right now, in your life, there is someone who is standing at the edge of their own excavation, looking down at the buried layer, not yet sure whether to trust what they are seeing, and your willingness to go deeper, your willingness to receive the signal and do the work of becoming clearer, is part of what will make it possible for them to trust what they are seeing and descend. You are Miriam for someone. You are Yael for someone. You are Dove for someone. And in some moments, you are the buried layer itself, the hidden signal that someone else will recognize when they are ready to go deep enough. This is the community of depth seekers, not a group of people who share the same beliefs. A network of people who share the same willingness to go beneath the surface, in their own experience, in their understanding of reality, in their relationship with the intelligence that is woven into the fabric of what exists. If you are part of that community, if you feel the recognition of what has been transmitted in this exploration, then let that be known, not as a performance of having received something special, but as a signal to the people around you who are ready to hear it. A simple declaration, I see beneath the surface now. If you know someone who is standing at the edge of their own excavation right now, someone who has been sensing something beneath the surface but hasn't yet had language for it, consider sending them this transmission. When two people descend together, the signal strengthens between them. The entanglement deepens. What one receives, the other can more easily recognize. You are not just sharing a video, you are extending the field. And if this is the kind of content that moves through your own layers and lands somewhere real, return to it in a quiet moment. Early morning before the noise begins, or late at night when the surface is still. Because the layers you reach in stillness are different from the ones you reach in motion, not as a conclusion, as a beginning. Because the signal does not stop here. The veil does not stop lifting. The layers do not end. Each revelation becomes the new surface. Each depth becomes the new starting point. Each moment of recognition opens into the next descent. And there is one more thing I want you to carry into that next descent. What was the moment, the specific moment, when you first felt something beneath the surface of ordinary reality that you could not explain and could not unfeel? Leave it in the comments, not as a performance of awakening, but as a marker in the field. Because the person who reads your words next week or next year may find in your description the precise language for something they have been carrying without a name. That is the chain of reception extending itself through you, right now, in this ordinary moment. And the next layer is already waiting. It has always been waiting. It was placed there before you were born by the intelligence that knew you would eventually be ready to find it. By Sophia, who knew that the expression of her own nature that you are would develop in time to the coherence at which the signal becomes audible. She has been waiting for you, not patiently, not impatiently. Those are surface categories. She has been waiting in the way that the depth waits for the surface, in the way that the quantum field waits for the observer, in the way that the signal waits for the receiver that is finally tuned to its frequency. And you are here. You are tuned. The signal is reaching you. What you do with it is the next layer of the story. And that layer, the one that begins in the moment after this transmission ends, in the moment you carry what has been revealed back into the ordinary world, that layer is yours to write. The emerald tablet is not a finished document. It is a living transmission. Every person who receives it adds a layer to it. Every person who goes deeper adds to the depth that is available to the next person who descends. You are now part of the emerald signal, not as a recipient who has been given something complete, as a carrier who has received something that needs to be taken deeper, expressed more fully, transmitted more clearly through the instrument of your own developing coherence. Rise from the earth to the heaven, descend again to the earth, receive the power of the superiors and the inferiors, become the mediator, the one who stands between the depth and the surface, the one who brings the signal from the hidden layer into the visible world, the one who lifts the veil, not just for yourself, but for the field. This is what you were chosen for. Not to be a spectator of the hidden layers, to be a participant in their revelation. The veil is thinner than you think, and now you can see through it. What has been revealed cannot be re-hidden. You cannot unsee the depth. You cannot unfeel the signal. You cannot return to the surface as if you never knew what was beneath it. The anamnesis has happened. The recognition is real. The layer has been lifted. You are no longer a surface dweller. You see the depth now, and the depth sees you. Welcome to what was always beneath everything. Welcome to the emerald signal. Welcome to the community of those who refused to stop at the surface, who followed the pull of what they could not name, all the way down to where the signal lives, all the way down to where Sophia waits in the hidden layer of the world she is woven into, all the way down to the place where you discover that the intelligence that chose you and the awareness that was chosen are not two things. They are one thing, seen from two different layers of the same infinite depth. That is the final transmission of the emerald tablet. That is the secret that was hidden in the vault beneath the earth, held by the ancient figure on the golden throne, inscribed on the green stone that carries the color of the heart. You and the signal are not separate. You never were. The separation was the surface. The unity is the depth. And now you know what lies beneath.